Are you losing too many points when you transition to the net? Well, it could have something to do with your single strategy. You're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. But hey, we're going to clear it up right now. My name is Jeff Salzenstein. I'm the founder of Tennis Evolution, former top 100 pro. I've got another top pro over here, James Mcgee, former top 150 career high, Irish Davis Cup player. He's traveled all over the world for the last decade playing against the best in the world. Thanks for joining us today, James.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about a tip as it relates to your strategy. And James has been playing with a few juniors recently, and he's noticed something that not only junior players are doing, but also recreational players are doing wrong. And we want to just fix that right now for you and really give you a concept or an idea where you can focus on getting to the net and using the right strategies. So James, take it away. Tell us about a big strategy mistake that some of these players out there are making, and they can correct it and become a better player.
Okay. Well, I had the opportunity a few weeks ago of working with this player who had very good volleys, but yet didn't believe he had good volleys because he kept losing points every time he came to the net. And
so let me ask you something. He's basically saying, James, my volleys aren't very good, and you're saying, well, let's take a look and see how you really are volleying.
Exactly. Yeah. In my opinion, they were really good. But his understanding of when to volley and his understanding of what balls to come in on, how to approach, and having the awareness of where his opponent is positioned in the court was not where it needs to be. So his actual technique on his volleys and his feel was quite good, but he was coming into the net on really difficult shots, like approaching the net when his opponent was there and could put the ball wherever they wanted, and he was having to do really difficult things to win points.
So he's getting mad because he's having to hit low volleys below the net, and guess what? If you're hitting low volleys on the pro tour, you're not going to win many points, let alone if you're a junior player or a recreational player. So if you're hitting those volleys below net level, we've got to change that. What do we do to change that?
I think, first of all, is knowing when you want to come to the net. Obviously, if you're coming to the net and your opponent is behind the ball and they have an opportunity to do whatever they want, you're in big trouble, right? You're in a sort of a vulnerable position. You want to try as much as often to come to the net whenever your opponent is defending. They have one hand, assuming they're two hands, they have one hand off the racket and they're stretched. So that way you can look to move in and try and take as many balls as you can, sort of at shoulder level or up here. Now, obviously there will be times where you have difficult low volleys. That's part of the game, but you want to increase your chances of getting to the net and having higher volleys where you can put the ball away.
So James, as a rule of thumb, maybe there's a simple concept that anyone that's watching this video could focus on. If they've been coming in, they're dealing with low volleys, they're losing a lot of points. I know this isn't the be-all, end-all, but to help a recreational player, a committed, passionate player, or a junior player, what could they maybe focus on in terms of their positioning and their understanding coming in, and where their opponent is located to decide to come into the net?
I think the biggest thing is making sure your opponent is on the run and is in a defensive position. Obviously, if they're not in a defensive position, they're going to put you in a lot of trouble with their passing shot. So if you have the opponent pulled off the court, obviously you want to go into the open court and get them in a position where they have one hand off the racket and they have to slice the ball. Usually if they've got two hands on the racket, assuming they're a two-handed player, they've got a good chance to pass you.
Not many players want to hit their backhand pass on the run. So if you get them off on the forehand side, then you know that you could probably come in if you're standing just inside the baseline.
Yeah.
But exactly. A time that we're probably not a great time to do it, and you saw that when you played against this junior recently, is what situation?
Oh, when for example, I would be in the middle of the court, and he would approach, say, to my backhand. He was on the baseline as well, or slightly behind the baseline. He would hit an effective enough approach shot, but because he was so far behind the baseline, even if I was slicing it, he wasn't close enough to the net to make sure that his volley was at shoulder height level. So the big thing from that, which I told him, is that if he is going to come into the net when I'm in the center of the court, make sure that he's taking that shot a little bit earlier, that he's a good 1.5 meters or so, 2 meters inside the court, and then he's coming in after that shot. That way it's putting me under a bit of time pressure and he's getting to the net as quickly as he can.
So the moral of the story is to have awareness and to have an understanding. And James has mentioned those words a few times, and this is something that is missed in tennis. Like, again, we're focusing so much on footwork and technique, and hey, that's all great. I teach that, and I know you teach that, and you studied it, and you focused on technique and footwork as a player. But having that awareness and that understanding where you're at in the court, and also where your opponent is in the court, is so important, especially if you want to be able to volley well at the net. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video lesson. James gave us great insight on a tip that can help you with your singles strategy as it relates to moving forward. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you're not done yet. I really enjoy action takers, James. I like players to get out on the court and improve. And one way they're going to do that is if they click the link in the description below or somewhere in this video, and I'm going to give you a free gift. And that free gift is related to this video, in that you're going to learn the 3 myths that almost all players are making as it relates to singles strategy. And we want you playing smarter tennis. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and make sure your notifications are turned on, because every week we're revealing new content that's going to help you become a better player. Click the link in the description below or somewhere in this video so that you can learn the 3 myths and get the solutions to how you can play smarter tennis, get that single strategy rocking. Thanks so much for your time today. James and I, we enjoyed this video. James, thanks for joining me today on this episode, and we'll see you at the next lesson.
Thank you.